What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past few days. We do have some big topics to discuss. Firstly, Barcelona's pursuit for a right back is now ongoing. It's now official and confirmed, with Vanderson and Ratiu being the top two candidates to come in to provide coverage and competition for Jules Koundé, as Barcelona continue to work on the renewal of Jules Koundé as well. Romano confirms that Barcelona are in well-advanced talks and conversations to bring in a new right back confirmed this summer. Have an update on the confirmed free agent signing in Jonathan Tah. We've not had any reports over the past few weeks, but Jonathan Tah is now waiting to finalize his already agreed in principle contract with Barcelona. We'll discuss that. Some big exit updates as well around Inaki Pena and Andreas Christensen. Big renewal updates on Szczęsny and Jong, both looking very positive. Some injury updates from last night's match. And speaking of last night's match, it could be revoked. Osasuna could be trying to steal 3 points away with Barcelona after apparently we played Inigo Martinez when he wasn't allowed to play. We'll discuss that. And finally, the 6th edition of the El Clásico kit for Barcelona with the change sponsored is of course coming up ahead, and right now Taylor Swift is the big favorite to be the sponsor for Barcelona on the Clásico shirt. We'll talk about that and also the other options, maybe Travis Scott, Ed Sheeran. We'll discuss everything in this video. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below, and let's try and get to 200 likes on this video. It would be very much appreciated. And also, if you are new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past few days. And the first topic I want to discuss is going to be one of the main priorities for Barcelona this summer, alongside, of course, the reinforcement of a left forward / left winger, and that is signing a fullback, again, more specifically, a right back. Fabrizio Romano has come out saying that Barcelona have already begun talks with right back candidates for this summer. The club's plan remains to bring in one more right back in addition to keeping Jules Koundé this summer. So again, the plan is for Barcelona to sign a new right back, but to keep Koundé as kind of the main one. The main star was coming in, is going to provide that coverage and competition, but won't be so good that he comes in, jeopardizes Koundé's main position. Again, the question now is, who are those options? According to Mundo Deportivo, they've come out saying that Andrei Ratiu, Marc Pubil, Vanderson, Wesley, and Oscar Mingueza are the options in that position. To be fair, all decent, probably except for Pubil, who is, of course, playing in the second or third division of Spain. Wesley, of course, playing in Brazil. Mingueza in La Liga, Ratiu in La Liga, and then Vanderson in Ligue 1. But it's quite clear who the two main options are right now. Just really come down to picking and choosing and finding the best deal or reaching an agreement. First one, of course, is Andrei Ratiu. Now, Mateo Morito from Olivo has come out saying that Andrei Ratiu is a right back who Barcelona do really like. The club also will be watching him closely because the player's file has been on the table of the Barcelona board several times. In the coming weeks, there are plans for new talks to see if a transfer is possible. And also, this is a very weird report, but I think something to take a note of. Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Andrei Ratiu has admirers in the Barcelona dressing room, with some players regularly picking him in their La Liga fantasy teams. If Barcelona move for him, they can get him for around a fee of around 12 to 15 million euros, which is probably what I would think that Ratiu is valued between 10 to 20 million, somewhere around there. I think is the best option in terms of a price. Again, okay player, but not someone that absolutely wows me. Someone who wows me, for me, out of all the options that we've of course been discussing on the channel over the past few weeks, is Vanderson of Monaco. Now, Fabrizio Romano came out saying that Vanderson is, of course, one of the right backs that Barcelona appreciate. Deco has a strong relationship with the player's agent, Juliano Berlozzi, which creates a positive connection. Vanderson himself would be excited about the opportunity to play for Barcelona, of course. However, he is not the only option being considered. The club has compiled a list of several right back targets for the summer, and Barcelona are also assessing their financial fair play situation to determine how much they can be invested in that position. Regardless, signing a new right back remains a key objective for the club in the coming transfer window. So it looks like Hector Fort's days are numbered. Poor guy. I think he's a really great option. Hopefully, I think it would be great if we bin Gerard Martin and keep Fort for right back and left back. But it looks like Vanderson is kind of the main one, alongside Ratiu being a strong number 2 option. Now, also, Joaquim Pereira, #1 source around Brazilian players and Barcelona, came out saying that Hansi Flick has given the green light and approved the signing of Vanderson for Barcelona this summer, and Flick likes Vanderson's attacking ability, his ability to create chances, his pace, and his defensive intensity. Vanderson is a player that Barcelona have been following now since probably 2021. Since he made that move from from Porto to Monaco, we have been tracking him ever since. I think he is one of the best options on the market that, of course, is realistic and makes sense. Good age. Of course, do not forget, he's good on both sides. Of course, mainly a right back. He thrives as a right back. He plays right back week in, week out, but he has the ability, has the option to play left back as well. That's, of course, a big plus in terms of Barcelona signing one player that's very, very versatile. So if we end up with Vanderson or Ratiu, I'm good with either one of them, to be honest. At this point, I think Vanderson, of course, is a much better option. I would pay a bit more for Vanderson than for Ratiu, but if Vanderson gets too expensive, like we're pushing more than like 25-30 million, I'd dip and get Ratiu for, 10 to 15. I think that, makes the most sense as of right now. The other options, Pupil, dead. Wesley, dead. Mingueza, if we miss out on these two options, he's there. Of course, we have that buyback option for Oscar Mingueza. I wouldn't be totally opposed to it, but again, like I mentioned on the channel a few times, we need someone of a potential to become a world-class player, and I think Vanderson is that. I think he definitely has the potential to be one of the best right backs in the world. Maybe not, Dani Alves, Cafu level, but maybe like, Trent, like in the sense of, he's regarded as one of the best right backs in the world. That's the kind of caliber that I want to come in, because I hope low-key that this move shifts Koundé back into the middle. I think we need a more natural right back going forward to elevate this team to the next level. Of course, Koundé defensively, absolutely brilliant. Going forward, he's a bit hit and miss. Sometimes he drops 3 assists on your head top, and the time he doesn't. To be fair, he does have, I think, 9 or 10 GA this season, which is quite crazy for someone whose attacking output isn't the best, but something to take note of. Now, speaking on Jules Koundé very, very quickly, Roger and Fernando Polo Mundo Deportivo came out saying that if Jules Koundé does, in fact, renew his contract, again, talks are taking place, then Barcelona will look for a cheap right back, but someone with a high level than Hector Ford. So, again, like your Vanderson, like your Ratiu, you're not going to go for, Trent and all this. But if Koundé does not renew his contract, then a more expensive option will be looked at. So, in the sense that they still see Koundé as #1. If he does, of course, they renew his contract, they'll find someone cheaper, Vanderson and Ratiu. But of course, those two players are much better than Hector Ford. Although I think the potential of Hector Ford is very, very high. But if Koundé does not renew his contract, then we can go for someone big. I think Koundé is top 5 right backs in the world right now, even though, attackingly isn't the best. So the pool is quite small. You're looking at Trent, who's on his way to Madrid. Hakimi, who's locked down for life at PSG. Who else is really next up at this point? Maybe Cambiasso from Juventus, but he's going to cost an absolute fortune. So I think it's kind of, the thing to plan again is just renew Koundé and go for a cheaper option. So we'll wait and see how things do turn out. But again, the signing of a right back, or you could even say a fullback at this point, is pretty much guaranteed for Barcelona this summer. The question now is, who will it be? Now, the player that will most likely be Barcelona's first signing of the 2025 summer transfer window is a player that I honestly forgot about over the past few months because there's been no news, no reports about him, and that is Jonathan Tah. Again, he will be a free agent this summer, with us having some center backs leaving this summer. We are expecting to come in and replace them with Jonathan Tah. Now, Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Jonathan Tah is still waiting for Barcelona to finalize the deal officially, since the club has other priorities right now. The German defender is also being approached by Premier League clubs like Liverpool and Tottenham. So do not forget, Barcelona have agreed in principle a contract with Jonathan Tah, a 4-year deal. It's just now about really finalizing it and putting pen to paper on that deal, but Barcelona have not pulled the trigger yet. We'll wait and see how things do turn out. Again, if Eric Garcia becomes huge for us, you never know, he might end up staying, and then Tah might end up just moving on from him. I think the reason why we were really working on Tah, because it looked like Christensen was going to leave, it looked like Eric Garcia was going to leave, it looked like Araujo was going to leave. We're thinking, oh, buddy, we need a center back. But again, like I mentioned, if that right back comes in, does very well, and then shift Koundé potentially in the middle, you'll have Pau Cubarsí, you'll have Inigo, you'll have Araujo, you'll have Koundé, you'll have Eric Garcia as your 5 center backs. So you don't really need a Tah at that point. But if we maybe still cash out Eric Garcia, even though he did well, of course, looking like we're going to cash out on Andreas Christensen, which we will talk about in this video, then of course the Tah is needed. Of course, Araujo is injured, is still injury prone, despite the fact that, you know, he's been okay in 2025. He is still an injury prone player. Inigo probably is going to do one more season, then that's it as well. So maybe bringing in that Tah a year early to replace Inigo. That could be a strong option as well. So I think the signing of Tah wouldn't oppose fit against the free transfer. So it's pretty much, you know, guaranteed to benefit us. Either we sell him for a profit or he comes and does well for us. So we'll wait and see on that. Do not forget about Tah coming in on a free deal this summer. Also, very quickly on center backs, we have been linked with De Hoyschen. Of course, the outstanding breakthrough season from him, the Spanish defender playing for Bournemouth. Alfredo Martinez came out saying that Barcelona are keeping a close eye on the Spain and Bournemouth center defender De Hoyschen, although the player isn't priority for the club as of right now. Like I mentioned already, we have a bunch of center backs. We already have Tah lined up. Going for De Hoyschen makes no sense. The only way you go for De Hoyschen is if, of course, an Araujo leaves. Maybe, God forbid, a Kubarsi leaves, someone big leaves, you bring in someone big to replace him. I think right now we're pretty happy with Kubarsi and Inigo, or Kubarsi and Araujo. If Araujo maybe gets his release clause activated this summer, and the good reason why to bring in Tah, because you never know, his cheap release clause of Araujo is very cheap. He might end up getting leaving us in the summer. Then maybe you can look at a De Hoyschen. Then I think he's a very good player on the ball. He's absolutely sublime, so would be a very, very good option. Probably him and Romero, Christian Romero from Spurs. So apparently we're going to be off Atletico Madrid. Do you know how nuts that would be? Those two for me are like kind of like my top two center back. Maybe Van Dijk on a free as well would be nice if we know we do need center backs. But for now, looks like we're pretty okay with just getting Tah and then maybe selling what we currently have. And that right now is the final decision that we are waiting for. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to be leaving Barcelona over the past few days. First up is Inaki Pena. This is coming in from Marca. They've come out saying that Inaki Pena is very frustrated and sad. It's likely that he will decide to leave Barcelona at the end of the season. Good move for him as well. I mean, I keep on hating on Inaki Pena. I need to slow it down, but the guy's had two huge chances to be the number one at Barcelona. He was lucky. You know, look at Silson back in the day. Neto, Ter Stegen when he was the second choice goalkeeper. Top goalkeepers who could never break through in the first team but were always a reliable second option. Never had a chance at the running. If they had a chance, they definitely would have taken it. And then you have Pena, who's had two chances, not one, but two chances, with two Ter Stegen long-term season-ending injuries, and he flubbed his lines completely. I mean, he had, what, 3 or 4 good performances in about the 40 games that he did play in that span. I mean, Szczęsny already has more clean sheets than him this season. That should tell you enough. Szczęsny had more clean sheets than him a month ago. I mean, it's just quite obvious. And also, the attitude of Inaki Pena, I think, is quite poor. There are reports coming out from Fernando Polo saying that Hansi Flick had a very heated argument with Inaki Pena when the goalkeeper was relegated to the bench against Athletic Club in the Super Cup semis before being a few minutes late for the pre-match meeting. How are you? Inaki Pena thinks he's the big man. He thinks he's the big boss. And you know that tweet from Drake, the most famous tweet? When bench players start moving and acting like they're starters. That is what Inaki Pena did. Yes, he was the starter at the time. He was the number one choice goalkeeper, but he's only number one choice because Ter Stegen was injured. That's the reason why Flick and Barcelona signed Szczęsny, because they knew that long term, you were going to get cooked at the end of the day. Giving the big into Hansi Flick. Apparently he was, of course, we all know why. I think his wife was announced that she was pregnant the day before the Super Cup, and maybe Inaki Pena was up late talking to her and stuff like that, which is probably what any normal human being would do. And the day, though, you broke the rules. You came late. Conde got dropped. What was it? Frenkie. Who else got dropped apart from poor Conde's been dropped so many times. He's the first one that comes to mind. But there's other players that were late for training and that were dropped. I don't know why Frankie's coming to mind, but you failed to failed to. I don't care if you had a baby, you got married, this and that and the other. And the day you were late. You were late. Game is game. Szczęsny, you gave Szczęsny what? By the way, this is how you know Szczęsny's clear. One chance for Szczęsny is all it took for him to absolutely send you to the bench forever. One chance. He played well against Barca, came into that game, clean sheet, man of the match as well. Again, it's hard to argue. So hope we can get rid of Inaki Pena this summer. 5-10 million for him would be a great fee. Any money for him, really, I'll actually take at this point. So wait and see. Probably gonna stay in La Liga, so we're probably gonna come up against him. He probably will have an absolutely world-class performance against us. But game is game, and wait and see what happens in regards to his future. Now, the other player that's looking at the exit door this summer is Andreas Christensen. Marca again have come out saying that Barcelona have decided to sell Andreas Christensen this summer. He may receive some playing time to attract buyers. Look, Christensen, I think, is an absolutely fantastic player. Has the ability to be world class. The guy just cannot stay fit to save his life. And do not forget, he has a contract with Barcelona until 2026. He's in the final year of his deal, so we have to cash out now. Probably won't get much for him. If we can get more than 20 million for him, that would be a freaking huge accomplishment, a huge bonus. I think honestly, knowing Barcelona how poor we do sell, we're probably selling for around 10 to 15 million, which again does make sense. He's been out for this whole year, injured. Hopefully in this last 2 months, he's apparently going to be back in the next week or so. Hopefully he can come back and have a big impact on our season, help us win some trophies, and then leave on a high. But I mean, at this point, especially with Tah coming in, Eric Garcia, of course, getting some strength under Flick, he's cooked. I think ability-wise, he is better than, if you take all these three players in their peak, Eric Garcia, Tah, Christensen, I think Christensen is the best one, 100%. But the guy's peak is like, what, one day in a year? 1 day every 2 years? It's just not feasible for a club like Barcelona, unfortunately. Love the Danish man, but you gotta be fit. And at the end of the day, he's barely been fit for Barcelona. Even for the first season as well, he had these niggling stomach, problems left, right, and center. Then, of course, last season, he only played like 45 minutes half the time. So, he's a great player, but just can't stay fit. So, we'll wait and see what happens. But again, SCL is very likely for Andreas. Not only for the fact that he cannot stay fit, but also for the fact that he has 1 year left in his deal, and also the incoming Jonathan Tah in his position. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. Firstly, on the contract renewal of Ferran Torres. Now, Sport came out saying that Barcelona are preparing a contract renewal offer for Ferran Torres, a deal until 2029, same salary, but some more bonuses in there for goals scored, games played, all this sort of stuff. I actually want to see how many years Ferran Torres does have in his contract left. I think he has also 2026. No, it says it's 2027, so he has 2 years left on his deal, which means he signed a very long contract when signed for Barcelona in, 2021. Signed a 6-year deal, 5-year deal almost. Is he deserving of it? I mean, the club really want to keep him, and Flick backs it. I don't have a problem with it. I think he's a good option off the bench, good option in case our starters are not ready or injured. I mean, this season, 22 GA, 15 goals, 7 assists. He has more goals. He has the same amount of goals. He has the same amount of non-penalty goals in La Liga as Vinicius. There, I got it. I got the stat out there in the end. So, I mean, this season he's having his best season. We've, of course, seen 2 stinkers of a season from Ferran, and then 1 okay one. Then this one, of course, you can classify it as a good one. Same money though is kind of annoying for me. He's on, of course, don't forget, 150k a week. He is, of course, a big player in terms of Spain and Barcelona and a big name, but a bit too much for me when he's going to be spending at least 40% of the season on the bench. So, I mean, that has a bit of a quorum in me. But apart from that, is he deserving of it? I mean, if you want to rush to conclusions, I guess. I think over the course of his whole time at Barcelona, I would say no, personally. But yes, he's having a good season now. I mean, I don't see why the case isn't, why not, He's fair with everyone as well. Good vibes. Might as well keep the chemistry and harmony in the squad. So wait and see what happens with Ferran Torres. But again, Barcelona are preparing a renewal for him during the next few months. Now, the next contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Frenkie de Jong, and we have more positive developments on the side of Barcelona and Frenkie continuing their relationship for the foreseeable future. Now, the Athletic have come out saying that Frenkie de Jong wants to stay at Barcelona and is in talks over a new deal. He's very happy with life in Barcelona and feels very settled in with his family as well. And Barcelona sent Frenkie de Jong's proposal to extend his terms at the start of 2024. So of course we already knew this last year during the Napoli tie and all that sort of stuff, but the club sort of said they did not receive a response at that time, and now both sides say negotiations have started. So at that time we got aired, but now things are moving in a decent direction. Now, this is the big one from Fernando Polo of Mundo Deportivo. He came out saying that de Jong's position at Barcelona is as follows. There's, of course, satisfactory with his performances and his development, but currently there is no rush to make a decision about his future. The club prefers that Hansi Flick has the final say, and the club is well aware that now is not the right time to decide the future, because the priority right now is, of course, focus on the pitch, decide to win championships and stuff like that. But the club's final decision on Frenkie de Jong's renewal offer and the terms and the condition of it all received down to mainly Flick's opinion. The coach will have to give the authority to make the decision. Of course, Flick must take into account several factors about, of course, the squad, looking at players like Gavi and de Jong competing in the same position, earning, a good amount of money as well. Currently, the club does not want the coach to be distracted by other, issues. That's why they went away into the summer, at the end of the season, I say, they get his opinion. But as of right now, economically, it won't be too much of an issue, but we'll have to wait and see what things turn out. So the club's perspective is, look, right now the team's focusing on going for the quadruple. Let's leave them be. And also the club want to give this decision a lot down to Hansi Flick and how he manages that midfield. Of course, look at that midfield: Pedri, Gavi, Frenkie, Olmo, Fermin, Pablo Torre, Casado, Bernal. You have like 9 players there for only 3 positions. Well, of course, you probably need 2, 4, 6, 8. You want to have 2 per position, of course, especially at elite level like Barcelona and playing week in, week out. The club feels like maybe you can't have both Frenkie and Gavi, where for me, I completely 1,000,000,000% agree. I think having all these options are, of course, fantastic. Of course, Gavi came out a few weeks ago saying that he's happy to be on the bench. He's just happy to be a Barcelona player, and that for me is the mentality. And again, you have to consider the schedule. Look what we're currently in right now. We play every midweek, every weekend from now until May. Players will not survive. They're not robots. Having squad depth is absolutely imperative and is one of the main reasons for success for any single team. Look at Real Madrid's midfield: Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Modric, Bellingham, Brahim Diaz, Arda Güler. There's 6 brilliant players. Look at Bayern Munich. Look at Arsenal. Look at Man City. Look at Liverpool. Everyone has elite midfielders in different positions that can also play different roles as well, and that is what Barcelona needs. I think Barcelona's vision should be having Casado, Bernal for the pivot for the main 6. You can have Pedri and De Jong for the 8, and then have Gavi, Fermin, and Olmo for the 10. And then I'd probably, of course, unfortunately, bin off Pablo Torre. I think Pablo Torre, if Frenkie stays, Pablo Torres has got absolutely no chance of staying at Barcelona, but of course keeping that in mind as well. So that's what I personally would do. Of course, you have the option of playing Gavi and Pedri, Fermin, and Olmo off the left and other winger positions as well. If you want to do a 4-man midfield as well, so maybe that's why we only need to go for 1 winger this summer. So I think keeping Frenkie and Gavi is imperative. I do think Flick will agree with that as well. So again, the club want to leave Frenkie's future mainly on Flick. The club are very happy with him. They don't want to mind if you want to keep him, or if Flick says no, get rid of him. They're good on either side. And again, the most important thing in my opinion right now is that negotiations are ongoing. So wait and see what happens with Frenkie's future. But right now, roads are leading to them continuing. But the final say will come down to the manager, Hansi Flick. And the final contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Wojciech Szczęsny El Fumador Tech, which is looking like he has decided to stay. Of course, I covered a quote from an interview that he did with the Polish media a few weeks ago saying that he will decide his future very soon. I thought soon meant end the season, but looks like soon is right now. Gabriel Sanz and Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Szczęsny's renewal with Barcelona is nearing completion, with the Polish goalkeeper reportedly agreeing to a 1-year contract extension. Reports coming in from the top 2 journalists in Poland as well. These are, of course, the 2 journalists that have been all over the move of Szczęsny to Barcelona and also Lewandowski to Barcelona as well back in 2022. They got everything 100% spot on. They've come out saying that there is a 99% chance that Szczęsny will extend his contract with Barcelona until the end of next season. Money won't be a problem. His team knows how valuable it is for him to be playing at Barcelona. Szczęsny and his family feel great there as well. He's playing really well, and the locker room, of course, really like him. And Szczęsny will probably announce soon that he's staying. So Pena knows to look for a new club. Get in, said Pena the heck out of here. It's looking like Szczęsny and Ter Stegen going to be our goalkeepers for next season, with either Cochin or Astrolaga be the 3rd choice option. And you know what? I'm of course happy with this. If Szczęsny wanted to leave, I would have no problem with that. Of course, buys Barcelona some time to look for a long-term goalkeeper. Whether we're still tracking, the likes of Diogo Costa or not remains to be seen. But this at least secures us for next season. Also, a bit of a headache for Flick. Of course, Szczęsny's come in, done very, very well. Ter Stegen's the number 1. Probably I probably see Szczęsny playing the cup games next season. Well, it wouldn't be surprising if we do maybe a Bravo Ter Stegen 2.0, where Ter Stegen only plays La Liga and then Szczęsny plays Champions League, Copa del Rey, Spanish Super Cup. So that could be an option as well. But I think Ter Stegen might be disappointed with that. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. But looking like Szczęsny, Ter Stegen going to be the goalkeepers for Barcelona this season. But the question now is, what's going to happen from now until the end? Apparently, in the next month, Ter Stegen will be back. Sport came out saying that Szczęsny is Barcelona's 1st choice goalkeeper until the end of the season. The decision has been made, and next season he will compete with Ter Stegen, and Barcelona are clear. Does not matter if Ter Stegen returns early. Szczęsny will remain the 1st choice goalkeeper this season. The decision has been made not to change, especially in the Champions League. So even if Ter Stegen comes back early, Tech will stay in goal. I think this is 100% the correct decision, unless Tech gets injured, unless Tech makes crazy amount of mistakes. There's no reason to change. Of course, Tech was making mistakes at the beginning. He's now rectified those mistakes and has not made a mistake. Probably has not made a mistake since the Valencia game. He made a mistake in the Benfica game, 5-4. The Valencia game, which we ended up winning 7-1 anyways. Apart from that, he's been flawless. I mean, absolutely flawless. Of course, we've conceded some goals, and those are not all his fault. So I think Szczęsny staying is absolutely brilliant, and wait and see about between him and Ter Stegen in the competition next year. It'll be very, very interesting, because for a fact Ter Stegen puts 1 stinker, and every single Barcelona fan, media will be calling for Tech back in goal. So we'll see. This is probably the most pressure Ter Stegen has been. Since he's been the number 1. There was a lot of pressure when we had Silesen, because Silesen was performing so well in the cup games, but also Ter Stegen that was probably prime Ter Stegen, where he was doing so good in the league that it really pushed him. Of course, Neto was okay, but didn't do enough to really get him out. Of course, Pena has been easy as piss for him. Of course, Bravo, they had to share the role there for 2 years. So this is going to be the most toughest competition Ter Stegen has had, and we'll wait and see how things turn out going into next season. Let's now discuss some of the injury updates around the first team at Barcelona. Two big updates from last night's game against Osasuna. Firstly, on Dani Olmo, who apparently, according to reports, and also the channel that I was watching on beIN Sports were also saying this during halftime, Dani Olmo got injured from the missed penalty. When you see the replay of him taking the penalty, he hits the ball, he mishits the ball so much that his own groin hits his leg, and that's how he got injured. And according to reports, he'll be out for about 2 weeks. So a minor injury, but still an injury nonetheless. It is a very big loss because, again, Hansi said after the game, Olmo is injured, and since the schedule is so tight, 2 weeks, he will miss a lot of games. He will probably miss around 4 games. Definitely out this week against Girona. Definitely out for the Copa del Rey. Definitely out for Betis the next weekend. Probably aiming for that first leg against Dortmund, not next week, but the week after. But again, we'll wait and see for further tests to confirm it later on today in Barcelona. These are all just based on preliminary tests, his feeling, his knowing of his body after last night's game. It's not 100% confirmed, but I would say about 80%. Worst case scenario, he'll be out for a month, but best case scenario, I would say like 1 to 3 weeks-ish, which, I mean, it sucks, but at least we have the options. On the bench as well, squad depth, like I talked about with Frenkie de Jong, is important. Now, speaking of Frenkie de Jong, he of course went off at halftime in the match. We all thought, oh, just tactical to rest Frenkie, but apparently Frenkie had a bit of an overload. He said at halftime he was getting a bit tired, he had a little bit of overload, and he was substituted as a precaution. No injury there, nothing serious, and Flick also confirmed this after the game as well, saying that Frenkie is fine. He isn't injured like Dani Olmo is. I think Frenkie will be able to play on Sunday. So a bit of overload there, but the minutes getting to him after that great first half performance, and then Flick decided to take no risk whatsoever for the second half. Then of course Pablo Torres came in and had a great second half as well, so it all worked out in the end. But again, Frenkie is not injured, but had a little bit of a overload at halftime yesterday. Finally, another update. This has nothing to do with us currently, but into the summer, of course, on Marc Bernal. He has officially started training on the pitch for the first time on Monday, which of course is fantastic news for him, being on the ball and touching the ball and making those movements. Of course, he's very early right now in his recovery, looking like he's very likely will be fit for preseason. Very similar thing happened with Gavi as well. Gavi came back a few weeks early and blah blah blah, so looking the same thing for Bernal, which of course is positive. The club also highlight many times they will not rush anything with Bernal. Big talent that Barcelona are looking for. He's of course the starter in midfield the first 3 games of the season until he got injured, so we know the talent of Bernal, and adding him to this already deadly midfield, scary hours. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. I first want to discuss this report coming out from Fernando Polo Deportivo about how Hansi Flick manages the dressing room. Of course, earlier in the video, I talked about his heated argument with Inaki Pena. This, of course, originated from this report. Fernando Polo came out saying that Hansi Flick gets very serious before and during matches. About 30 minutes before kickoff, he goes completely silent and focused. During games, he's intense. He throws water bottles after the team has conceded goals, and even at his trusted assistant. We of course saw this in that Germany documentary ahead of the World Cup 2022. Flick uses videos to coach his players. Analysts record the first half of the matches, and at halftime Flick shows clips on the projector to correct positional and warn about the opposition's weakness. This is of course a bit new for the team, as Xavi will only use a whiteboard. So Xavi would see where everything is, he'd put the positions on the whiteboard and say it, while Flick actually shows the video. Again, we've seen all this with Flick in regards to the getting serious, locked in, angry, and the video stuff. We also listened to the Amazon documentary for the World Cup in Germany as well. So nothing really new to the fans if you have been following this whole entire process. He also came out saying that Hansi Flick is strict about punctuality, dislikes excuses, and has strong personality. Again, we saw this in the documentary as well. He was yelling at towards Julian Brandt and Leroy Sané for coming in late. Again, nothing new. When Koundé was late to a team meeting for the 3rd time this season against Rayo Vallecano, Flick was especially firm with him. On that day, the French defender arrived late to the pre-match talk in the hotel room, and as Koundé entered, Flick, who had been waiting at the door while the rest of the team was inside, slammed the door so hard it nearly broke and angrily confronted him. I mean, listen, I back Flick here 1,000,000,000%. I cannot fathom how Koundé has been late 3 times this season. It baffles my mind. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know who, what, when, where, how. First time, we can let that slide. Second time, we're thinking, all right, bloody hell, mate, lock in. 3 times he's been late this season. All 3 of those times, it's leaked. It was what, the Alaves game, Deportivo Alaves, like beginning when we played away from home. Then there was another one in the middle, which I forget. I think it was like Leganes or Las Palmas, one of those games that we lost. He was benched for being late. Then of course Rayo in the new year. So bit poor from Koundé's side, I'm not gonna lie, but I respect Flick highly for keeping the punctuality up and being very strict no matter who you are, how much money you earn, how big of a star you are. everyone's treatment is the same. If this was Lamine Yamal, he'd do the same. If this was Lewandowski, he'd do the same. If this was Pedri, he'd do the same. So that's what I really respect a lot the most about Flick. So I like how he has him at dressing room on lockdown, and hopefully this will all come to fruition at the end of the season with trophies in our hands. Now, with El Clásico coming up in about a month's time, the question now is who will be Barcelona's shirt sponsor? Of course, as part of the Spotify deal, every time we play Real Madrid in the league, we change our Spotify sponsor to someone else of an artist for, of course, brand exposure. The first one was Drake, second one was Rosalía, third one was a Rolling Stone, fourth one was Carlo G, fifth one was Coldplay. The question now is who will be in this one? According to Raccoon, it's going to be Taylor Swift. According to them, they said that Taylor Swift is the top choice to be the artist featured on Barcelona's jersey for the El Clásico in May. The deal is almost done, just waiting on final details. Others that were considered for this option as well were Ed Sheeran and Travis Scott. Swifties are going to come in and they're going to give us their money, and I cannot wait. One day I'll be a Swiftie, we'll be for that Clásico, we can lock in. Of course, in the five we've done, like I mentioned, Drake, Rosalía, Rolling Stone, Carlo G, and Coldplay. Of those five, we've only won two, Rosalía and Coldplay. We lost the Carlo G one, we lost the Rolling Stone one, and we unfortunately lost the Drake one. So the record with this is a 3-2. We need Swiftie to come in, making it even 3-3. Again, hopefully, so you can see on the right hand side, this is a mock of what Mundo Deportivo have done, because he's on tour or something like that. I don't know. I prefer it much to be a logo other opposed to being, you know, like numbers and stuff. I really like, of course, the Drake one, the Owl one. I like the Coldplay one. It was a nice dynamic, even though that was kind of like their tour. Rolling Stone, the tongue out, that's just iconic. Carlo G one was a bit dead, I'm not gonna lie. Rosalía as well was, you know, for her album Moto Mami or whatever it was. So I mean, we'll wait and see what the official design is. But again, the most important thing is securing the artist, which is going to be absolutely huge. I mean, money is going to be coming in, man. This might pay for our transfer window. It's going to be that big. And hopefully Barcelona don't limit the kits, because we know the Swifties love to get in there. So hopefully we can absolutely capitalize on that. But expect Taylor Swift to be the third woman and also the sixth artist to feature on Barcelona's shirt for the Clásico, as part of course, the fantastic, world-class, elite Spotify deal that Joan Laporte agreed upon a few years ago. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is a tad bit worrying, in my opinion, and this comes in from Cope following last night's match against Osasuna, an emphatic easy 3-0 win. It broke saying that Osasuna are considering filing a complaint against Barcelona for an improper lineup related to Íñigo Martínez. According to the rules, if a player is withdrawn from the national team, they are not allowed to play for their club within the first 5 days after the international break. Of course, we are still technically in the international break, so that would mean that Íñigo Martínez is an invalid player, which means, of course, the 3 points would go towards Osasuna, and we would go down as a loss. So that's all I'm thinking. What kind of a rule is this? And of course, you have to remember, Carlos Lavelle is the team delegate. He should be knowing all these rules, you know, thick and thin, inside and out. He's been a team delegate now for about 30 years, so I'm quite surprised he's missed out on this, being, of course, a team delegate. But all the reports coming in from Barcelona are transmitting a lot of calm. Renewal came out saying that here the reason why that, you know, it could rule in favor of Barcelona. One, Íñigo was called up for Spain national team on March 17th, but on that same day it was reported that he would not play due to injury. Article 47 said that if a player was dropped from the squad due to an injury, they must wait 5 days. The Spain's last match in the FIFA was, of course, March 26th, which means that he cannot play until March 31st, which also means he cannot play against Girona as well. So keep that in mind if this rule actually is in place. The key point is whether Spain Federation officially noted FIFA of Íñigo's medical absence. If there's no official record, then Barca could argue that they did not break the rules, but everything indicates that if Osasuna challenged the match, it would not receive any positive response from the judge. This is because the lineup would only have the possibility of becoming improper if the Federation had refused to allow him to be in the squad, and this has not happened, and they have, of course, until Friday 2 p.m. to file this claim. Right now, in Spain time, it's Friday was it 9 a.m. So as of right now, they have about 6 hours left, and I have not seen any reports about the complaint being official. If they do file it, it's probably going to go through. It's kind of how I feel right now. It's quite sad that Barcelona missed out on this. I don't know if this rule is true or not. I don't know if there's a loophole that we can get out of or whatever the case may be, but again, we could have played other options that we did have a part of the squad there, but it would be a bit frustrating to, you know, play a postponed game during the international break because there's nowhere else to play, just for us to lose that game because we played a player that was invalid. Couldn't also mention after the game that it was Carlos Muniero Garcia's birthday, the doctor that unfortunately passed away. So it's, you know, everything's all over the place here. So we'll wait and see how things do develop and do turn out. I think we're going to be okay, but I think if they do file this motion Osasuna, I would be a bit wary. If they don't follow it, of course, nothing will happen. If they do follow it, we can still end up, of course, winning the court case. But if they do follow it, I think that means that they're positive and they're very encouraged and they are confident they can get over the line. So let's wait and see what happens in the next few hours. But hopefully nothing too serious here, as potentially Barcelona could lose out on the 3 points that they did win yesterday. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past few days. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well, let me know your thoughts on everything we did discuss, mainly on those right back options. Who would you go for? What are your thoughts on Koundé's renewal as well? Secondly, on Jonathan Tah, would you still go ahead and sign on a free transfer or not? Thirdly, your thoughts on the renewals of Szczęsny and Frenkie de Jong, and finally your thoughts on the Taylor Swift collaboration. Are you in favor of that? We have gotten Travis Scott or Ed Sheeran. Leave me all your thoughts down below, and of course make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barca.